What's up, guys? In today's tutorial I'm going to be showing you how to make a snare clap that's very tight and crisp sounding, sort of like this. I'll play back the loop and then I'll play back just the snare so you can hear it in the mix too. Here we go. You can hear it's very together yet very layered. And so what I've done, I have multiple samples here. You can pretty much select a variety of snares, claps, and whatnot to your liking and start there. First you got to select your samples, and then once you've got your 5 samples selected, you can arrange them in a way where they're slightly offset but nothing more than half of a singular bar as we have here. So just like a slight, by milliseconds, slightly set them off and you'll get something like, that's just one, and a second one. There we go. So that's the full snare. Now what I've done as for my effects here, after you put them in and you make sure that they are slightly offset, and you do that, you just copy paste those over and make sure they're all aligned the same way. Once you have that, just color code them to make sure that those are your snares. And then what you want to do is take all of that and throw it. Oh, also remember to do audio editing, so cut them where you need to cut them and whatnot, and make sure that they are at the right lengths that you want them to be. So once you've done that, you can go ahead and select all these channels. Once you've color coded them, bus them over to a bus. I've got my buses over to bus 2 clap. I called it clap, but it's really a snare clap. So here, this is the bus that we have, and I've got all of these effects in here. So I'm going to close them. I'm going to show you step by step what I've done. So here, I threw an envelope on there. What this does, it kind of cuts all the samples to a certain length so that it knows that it's got to release like so. Watch what happens when I bypass it. It might be hard to hear, but try it out. So it kind of takes out that lastingness and makes it really snappy and quick. Also in the attack, just want to make sure so it hits quickly and then comes, and then it cuts it off right away too. So you want to copy these parameters for when you have a snare, and if you ever need to pause it and come back to it, you can always take a look. So that's the envelope. I always throw an envelope on my bus for a snap and clap, or I call it snaps, snare clap. Sample delay. What this does, it takes that sample that you have meshed together all in one and feeds it to your left speaker and your right speaker by slight samples. Basically the same concept as we have here, with the slight offsets in each little sample here. It does that even more so you get a fuller sound. So watch what happens when I bypass. So it sounds slightly more full, and that's always a good effect to throw on your snares as well. So sample delay and envelope so far. Then you got your channel EQ. Basic channel EQ looks like this. You got a little bit in the high ends for a little splash, and more in the 200s to 500s for that thumping, hit that really feeds the snare. And then you got the 2K for the clap part. Now for this instance, I took out a little bit in the 4K section and always cut out the bass so that you leave room for your bass line and kick to breathe. Once you have that, you can move on to throwing a multipressor or a compressor on there. I chose a multipressor and basically just boosted the whole range, because I've got another EQ here which kind of plays with the multipressor, and I've limited my 500 to 2.5 to 2900K to about, the threshold is about negative 25 dB, so it never hits above that. And then over here from the about 2900K to 20K, I've boosted that and left it open so that there's that splash effect that you hear. and in the 100 to 500 range, also boosted that a little bit and left it open so that it still has that full thumping snare clap sound. Now, if you want to copy those parameters, you can. I do suggest really listening to your snare and your clap and finding out where it needs to be boosted and where it needs to be cut and thresholds and whatnot. So definitely customize it to your own snare. But these are just basic things that I like to do for my snare claps that makes it a really full sound. So remember that 2 to 500K, 2 to 600 is where you want to boost your snare claps, and a little bit in the 2K range, and definitely a splash at the end is always good too. Once you have that, you got your envelope. Always throw an envelope on there, and always throw a sample delay on there. So let's hear that back all together, see how it sounds. Okay, now I'm just gonna, last thing, I'm gonna show you once I take everything out, it's gonna sound way different. Okay, here we go. So it's a very meshed sound, but I really brought it out by first doing this, and then doing this, and then throwing an EQ, and then a multipressor, really boost the volume up a little bit, and then a limiter, make sure it's all hitting the same range, same output level. And there you go. That's basically how you make a wide snare, snappy, snap clap snare sound, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to hit the subscribe button for more tutorials, and I'll be taking requests for next tutorials on Twitter @ProducerTips. Do let me know. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a good one.